Has anybody ever gone past a negative medical test to the point where they knew, and they could know objectively, that they are no longer hosting the disease? How's that for a question for you to be asking? If you said that's a really good question, I want to know, has anybody ever done it? You're a dead duck. That is a dysfunctional thing to ask, okay? So what's the right question? What's the question you should be asking? How about, how will I know when I am at the point when I'm no longer hosting the disease? How am I going to be able to tell? There's your question. And that's what part 2 of this movie is about. Because many have arrived at this point where you are. Few have ever gone much beyond it. Now, how do I know that? I don't, because, I don't talk to most of the people in the cure drive, and I hear from them years later, and I find out they worked a miracle, So, okay, I don't really know, okay, but I suspect it because I watch everybody I know. And no. And me too, no. I mean, yes, as far as the disease that they came in with, yeah, I'm probably not hosting herpes anymore. That's what I came in with, herpes. And I had cancer, but I'd never had any physical symptoms or a medical diagnosis of cancer, but yeah, I had cancer. Took it out in... probably one night. It was one night, actually, in 1997. Some of the best stories are about me. And it was, it was after a movie. I was in the parking lot of this shopping mall where the theater was, and I was looking at the sky. I was in one of those marvelous places you go to, those calm, clear places. The world was my oyster. I had everything I wanted in my life. I was totally happy. I was in the calm, clear place. I just cured a few other things, and I was in the calm, clear place. And it just popped into my head to test for it. And I asked, do I have cancer in my spiral body? And I got yes. Oh, I knew exactly the body to check for it. I was a sophisticated, advanced student of this at that point. I knew just where to look. I had just never looked before. And I tested that I'd had it before this lifetime. You bring these things in with you. They're codes in the spiral. And you see, okay, when you die, you lose 5 bodies and keep 7. And the codes for the diseases are in the ones you keep. So, and does that mean I would have died of cancer in this lifetime? No, I was probably going to get run over or something, I don't know. But, barring shark attack, well, I found a few other diseases in there too, So. Yeah, so, I took it out. Very few people have come past this point. You see, all those 55,000 cures, you know, those were where people reported when all their symptoms disappeared, they weren't planning on going to the doctor anyway, or they got a negative medical test like Elizabeth, and, you know, she may not even be in that 55,000 because she cured those. You know Elizabeth from Lesson 1, right? The woman who cured Epstein-Barr, CMV, herpes. Yeah, she tested negative for herpes. And she had been testing positive. She was sick, very sick. Anyway, did she ever get to the point where she was no longer hosting those diseases? See, for me, I tested that I had herpes in my spiral body whenever I woke up for maybe 18 months to 2 years. I never got another outbreak because I took it out of my spiral body, my gravitational. I tested for, it was in a few bodies. Depending on how I was, you know, doing when I was sleeping or how many other things I was doing. See, that's the thing, isn't it? That I started doing this to feel good. And I discovered it when I was on a hill in Jamaica with a chiropractor who was in one of my seminars. I used to have a company and 35 to 70 employees to feed, hungry mouths to feed and pay, who, it went up and down, but I had a big staff, and we did courses in resorts. And we were on our break, and this doctor told me, come on, you know, I want to do this with you. And we were doing muscle testing. Have you noticed that you don't muscle test? This is not muscle testing. Did you notice that already? What you're doing is the opposite of muscle testing. You are not testing for weakness in your muscles, buddy. You know, you're testing for strength. The strength is the signal with this. You know, when your finger moves up or your abdomen feels cured. Yeah? You noticed that, right? But anyway, with muscle testing, I discovered with him that I could read the Akashic records. And I went, boing! Oh no, I'm reading the Akashic. What happened was, I was helping him. He wanted to feel better. And we tested something on me about his mother that happened before he was born that neither of us could have known. It didn't matter who was testing it, because it was not anything we could know. But see, you have access to all the information in the universe. And this is pretty weird, isn't it? I don't know if you've noticed that yet, you know, and that, you know, the good feeling is actually a miracle, you know, it's like, and it means that you have power, and you're going to have to acknowledge that, or you're going nowhere. You're going, you know, unless you acknowledge that, you're going nowhere.